Jai Gurudev. Before we begin with Maharishi's vision for the first chapter, I would like to add a few words. This will set the tone for what I will bring out as essence and emphasize the key points of Maharishi's life-transforming knowledge. There is so much to be gained. There is so much to be gained at all levels and in all spheres from this Gita. But what you should try to gain is enlightenment. This is Maharishi's purpose and vision of writing this commentary. It's like this. You capture the fort, and then what happens when you capture the fort? You gain the whole kingdom, and along with it all the treasures and all the resources and possibilities of that kingdom. So is it when you go for the highest, your enlightenment with this Gita. You will pick up the many treasures and powers on the way, but most importantly, you should always keep the goal of the highest alive in the mind and consciousness. Gita will teach you to be self alone at all times and then enjoy the non-self, which you see it as your life and the world from that platform. You enjoy without getting lost and entangled and bound in the ever-changing phenomenon called samsara. So this becomes the beautiful play of being the blissful self and enjoying the glories of this beautiful and bountiful creation without getting entangled. There is no need to practice renunciation and non-attachment. In time, whatever is not needed falls away because of your heightened discrimination. Your intellect will be able to discriminate what is essential and what is not really needed, what is lasting and what is ephemeral, and what is this eternal truth. So, when this discrimination dawns, then what is not needed will naturally fall away. It will happen very naturally. You don't have to struggle about it, or you don't have to practice with difficulty. It is a natural progression and a very joyful progression. The expansion of the consciousness and the expansion of the intellectual knowledge all will be growing simultaneously. So I request you to be regular with both your practice of TM and reading a few verses of Gita every day, either reading or listening to these audio versions every day. See for yourself what happens. Now let's begin with what Maharshi has to say about the introduction of the first chapter. This chapter prepares the ground and sets the scene for the glorious dialogue of the Lord's song, the Bhagavad Gita. Although it does not contain the actual discourse of the Lord, which really begins in the second chapter, it presents the basic problems of life and gives Lord Krishna the chance to propound the philosophy and practice which enables man to live life free from suffering. It is of great value for its contribution to the science of living. The Chapter-1 also portrays and denotes the inner war and the continuous conflict within oneself. So, it has far-reaching implications of bringing an end to these personal conflicts and all the negative tendencies and influences one is facing every day. It serves as a petition from the representative of humankind, who is the Arjuna, to the incarnation of the divine, who is Lord Krishna. And what is this petition? Even though we try our best to live a life of righteousness, suffering does not appear to leave us. So here Arjuna's demand is, give us a life free from suffering. There is one short sentence in this chapter spoken by Lord Krishna to Arjuna on the battlefield. The first word that falls from the lips of the Lord fills Arjuna with love and raises his heart to the elevated plane of his mind. Just this one sentence from Lord Krishna, Arjuna's heart and mind get established on a high level of alertness and gain a state of such self-sufficiency that communication between them is almost lost. Deep silence sets in, which is described as high level of suspension. In this deep silence, Arjuna also lost the spur to activity. But inwardly, Arjuna's consciousness is raised to that high level of suspension which purifies his heart and mind of all stain and enables him to receive within a short time the wisdom of the Absolute. This wisdom of the Absolute has become the timeless message of life for the good of all. Duryodhana, seeing his own army and the army opposing on the battlefield, gives the signal for battle. Arjuna is the greatest archer of his time. He is thoughtful and conscientious, and he is resolved to oppose the evil. Although he resolved to oppose evil, yet he is overflowing with a wave of love and visualizes the consequences of war and reaches a state of suspension between the dictates of his heart and the mind. This is the grim situation, indeed a grim situation, where consciousness is in a state of suspension, where both the mind and the heart are on the highest level of alertness. And this provides the ideal occasion for the divine intelligence to overtake and shape the destiny of man. Life is indeed a battlefield of opposing forces. If one is like Arjuna and has recourse to divine intelligence, then he will receive the light and share the cosmic purpose of fulfillment both for himself and for others. But if one is trapped by temptation like Duryodhana, then he becomes a drag upon life. He retards his own evolution and also hinders the progress of others. This chapter presents the mechanics of nature, the natural law, and the dharma. It reveals the fundamentals of life and society. While remaining on the human level, it portrays the heights of human consciousness through which the divine descends on earth. It provides a firm foundation for the edifice of Lord Krishna's teaching, the wisdom of eternal freedom in life. The essence of Lord Krishna's teaching is gaining this wisdom of eternal freedom in life. This chapter opens with Dhritarashtra in his royal palace at Hastinapur asking Sanjaya to tell him about the battle. Jai Gurudev, Loka Samasta Sukhino Bhavantu. Gurubhyo Namaha. Here is the meaning of the Guru Sloka here. I offer my salutations to my Guru, who removes the darkness of ignorance of the unenlightened by applying the ointment of this Adhyatmic knowledge and opens the eyes to this light of enlightenment. Now the meaning of the Gita Mahatmyam slokas. The first one who recites with devotion this Bhagavad Gita scripture, which is the bestower of all knowledge, wisdom and virtue, will attain the holy abode of Bhagavan Vishnu, which is always free from the mundane qualities based on fear and lamentation. Next, if one reads Bhagavad Gita very sincerely, then by the grace of Bhagavan, the karmas of the past misdeeds will not act upon him. Next, one may clean and purify himself daily by taking a bath in water. But if one takes a bath even once in the sacred Ganga called Bhagavad Gita, for him the impurities and the afflictions of material life is altogether vanquished. Next, because Bhagavad Gita is spoken by Paramatma, the Transcendental Eternal Self, one need not read any other Vedic literature. One needs to only read or hear this Bhagavad Gita with great attention. In this present age, people are so busy, involved in so many mundane activities, that they do not have the time to read all of the Vedic literature. But all this extensive reading is not necessary. Just this one book, Bhagavad Gita, will suffice because it is the essence of all Vedic literature and it is directly spoken by Paramatma Krishna. Next, by drinking this Ganga water of this Bhagavad Gita, the quintessence of the Mahabharata emanating from the mouth of Bhagavan Krishna, the cycle of birth and death comes to an end, which means one does not have to take birth again. Next, all the Upanishads are like a cow, and the milker of this cow, called the Upanishads, is Lord Sri Krishna. Arjuna is the calf drinking this beautiful nectar, and the fortunate devotee is also the drinker and enjoyer of this milk or the nectar, which is the essence of the Upanishads. Next, if there need be only one holy scripture, the divine Gita sung by Bhagavan Sri Krishna, and if there be only one worshipable God, let it be Paramatma Krishna, the Transcendental Eternal Self. And if there is only one mantra, let it be the holy names of Bhagavan. And if there is only one duty, let it be the devotional service to Bhagavan Krishna and his teaching. Jai Gurudev.